The community and bringing them along is really what has helped us to move that agenda of investing in San Ysidro, building things here, and making sure that the people that are here are.
If the border crossing station doesn't become more efficient for crossing those vehicles and making sure those border waits are below an hour and a half, right, or even an hour, then the community is suffering higher levels of air pollution. The longer the border wait time for vehicles to cross, the more impacted and the higher pollution that our monitors read.
When I was a kid, and even when I was like in high school, I never really questioned like my immediate environment. It wasn't until like I came to college and I started having conversations in like spaces with other individuals in higher education that I started realizing a lot of, like air quality in San Ysidro wasn't normal. And that's really when I started realizing why so many people in my community had asthma or had breathing problems, or why my grandmother suffered from a lot of dry cough. We have heavy diesel trucks that are coming from the Osai border that are, releasing a lot of toxic chemicals, and our communities are exposed to that. A lot of elders or older people in the community know, like it looks smoggy outside, and maybe I shouldn't go outside. But there's nobody really informing them about what are the real health impacts of them, being exposed to that. People in San Ysidro, they kind of depend on like the younger generation to translate things for them. It's definitely language barriers that hold people back from talking about these things.
In Mexico, they don't have as many regulations as we do, so especially on their vehicles. So a lot of that pollution we get almost most mornings. We have winds from the southeast that blow a lot of those pollutants up into the border crossing area. So a lot of times we'll see higher levels of particulate, especially in the mornings there.
You can't really see it, but you can feel it. When the wind shifts is when people have reported to us that they get itchy eyes, watery eyes, their asthma kicks in.
Even when I was a little kid, my eyes were extremely watery. I, to this day, have extremely watery eyes. I actually went to the optometrist not too long ago, and I explained to her, like, well, I used to live right next to a freeway, and I grew up crossing the border almost every day. And she said that could have an impact on your eye irritability.
For the population of children in the school district in San Ysidro, there is a higher rate of asthma.
A lot of people in my high school had asthma, and that's definitely all related to the environment that we got up in.
The more you're exposed to these different pollutants, the higher your risk of respiratory illnesses.
You have like this poor community with people of color, and we're saying, hey, we can't breathe over here, where we have high rates of asthma, we have, like the worst air quality in the area, like what are you doing about it? And there's still nothing. A lot of people are like, oh, well, it's not environmental racism, you decided to live there. And it's like, no, well, this is where we could afford to live. Like, a lot of spaces in San Ysidro are fairly cheap. Our communities deserve to be able to be outside and garden and do things that they find therapeutic without having to be thinking about the toxins that they're inhaling when they're enjoying those activities. Is the central focus of our future going to be on immigration, or is it going to be on whether or not humans can survive and survive comfortably? Everybody is deserving of living a healthy life and not having to worry about what's going to happen to their young kids.
If you live in a country like the United States of America, your zip code and the place where you live should not determine how long you live. Everybody has a right to live a healthy life and have access to the medical care that they need the best way possible. If we ignore that fact, then what we're saying to the next generation of children that are growing up in San Ysidro that we don't care, and that nobody's going to do anything about it, and that they can expect that their life should be short.